right, welcome to the book club. I'm Dylan, here with the man who howls my name, Keith. What's up, buddy?
Welcome to the light age, kid.
Oh, I see what you did there. Little flippity-doo-dah. Here at the Buddy Book Club, we're bringing down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing 2019's Dark Age by Pierce Brown. It's a continuation of the second trilogy of Red Rising, if you're following along. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us in past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on X or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You listen to us iTunes, Spotify. Please download, subscribe, give us a 5-star review, please, and thank you. Yeah, so we're continuing our Summer Saga series, say that 10 times fast, of the second trilogy, Red Rising. We love the first trilogy. We're back at it. We read Iron Gold. If you have listened to that episode, hit the pause button, go back, check that one out. Spend 30 hours reading that book, and then spend 30 hours reading this book. We listen to the audiobooks. I don't even know how I would find the time to crack open a physical book and finish this. I don't know how many pages it is. I should check. But I think when we did Iron Gold, I started to talk about like Tongueless's death, and you were like, hold on, that happens in Dark Age, because I just started reading that. And it all kind of is now blending together. So I think before we get into our typical categories, if you could kind of give me a general synopsis of what's going on with our characters and kind of what happened in the book, because I need a little bit of a refresher before we dive into it. And so do our listeners, I'm sure.
Yeah, it feels like we're like season 4, season 5 of a TV show right now. Or like, what happened in season 2?
Yeah.
You know, and that was this book. All right, so I'm going to try to run through this as quick as possible. So Darrow's side, Iron Rain on Mercury. Darrow uses the Storm God machine to fuck everyone up.
Mm-hmm.
Puts Orion in charge of it, who promptly causes a mass tidal waves and kills a bunch of civilians. He has to override the system and kill her. She's done. Orion, R.I.P. Ephraim is with several and Darrow's kids, hanging out with Sephi, who picked them up, you know, training and doing whatever they need to do there. Mustang, and I'm doing this in sequential order of the book, so I'll get to them going as we go. Mustang is playing politics. Looks like she pulled some, you know, House of Cards backdoor dealings. Promptly, everyone in the Republic Senate basically gets poisoned, delves into chaos, led by a clone, Abomination, a.k.a.
The Jackal's back agers.
Jackal, yeah. She ends up escaping, but leaving Severo, Clown, and Pebble behind. Lysander experiences war for the first time, realizes it sucks, but uses the mind eyes to escape, goes through all these different trials and tribulations, finally becomes a prisoner of Atlas. He and Atlas devise a plan to escape and infiltrate Darrow's crew. Lyria and Volga are being tortured, held hostage by Victra. She lets them go, but Volsung Fa, a new mysterious obsidian, comes into play and runs their ship to the ground. They crash land. Lyria gets a couple cool pieces of tech added to her head. They eventually run into the Red Hand, who captures Victra, kills her baby, and Lyria starts a mini revolution, fucks them all up.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Volsung Fa. He comes to Mars, which Ephraim and the Obsidians have taken over. He kills Sephi, gets all the Obsidians to follow him.
And Volsung Fa is like her grandfather, I guess?
Last couple ones, Lysander infiltrates Darrow, gets the Master Maker to make like the EMP fuck up everything. All the lights go down. Darrow and his crew are screwed. Lysander throws a sling blade through his heart. Cassius comes to the rescue, saves them. And lastly, Lysander bows down to Atlantia. Atlantia. What's her name? Atlantia?
Now I'm all screwed up, but yes. We got it.
Marries her, and although he knows she killed her as parents, and he and Apollonius got some scheming behind their backs going. Does that summarize everything? Did I miss anything? I feel like there's a lot going on.
And Apollonius is the guy that that Darrow freed in the last book, right?
Correct.
The Minotaur,
yeah,
or whatever his name is.
I'm thinking for most books it'll be shorter than this, the summary, so we can do this. But this one has so much going on.
Yeah, my brain's still bungled. It was helpful for sure, but my brain is to Atalantia. Okay, yeah. It's a lot of syllables. Never name your kid with too many syllables. It gets confusing. Let's dive into some standard categories. Stock up, stock down. For those that are not familiar, stock up. Things that are good, stock down? I don't know. We don't even know. What do you have for stock up?
Perspective, stock up.
Oh.
This book gives a really great view on perspective. A few examples of this is how people perceive Darrow. So on Mercury, he's basically committing genocide. Everyone there is like, this guy's the worst. Like, he just literally flooded everyone, killed a ton of civilians, even though he's like trying to give medicine and things to them after the fact.
Yeah, he's like passing out anti-rads, and they're like, all right, fuck you, dude.
And from his perspective, we see, yeah, he's doing that. He's the one that had to kill his, like, one of his best friends, Orion, and to stop the genocide. I have to do something I don't want to do in order to, because it's for the best thing. In all honesty, Orion's probably right. Like, if they just flood the whole thing, probably better for the Republic, for everyone. But he doesn't do that. Perspective there. Then we have, like, the Vox perspective and getting manipulated. And then we also have, like, the Victra versus Lyria perspective, where I was kind of always on Lyria's side, and then Victra's like, you brought a bomb into the ship. We told you, like, you've been told thousands of times never to take something in there, and that you don't know of where it came from. Like, you're pretty dumb. You're the one that's actually responsible. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. So I kind of switched my perspective once I heard hers. But my favorite, by far, perspective is we get early on in the book, Darrow meets Lysander for the first time in battle. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Like, he's gonna recognize him. He's gonna do all this stuff. Nope. Just chaos. Darrow runs through him so quickly, just fucks up his whole squad. Everything gets dismantled. And from we seeing Lysander's perspective of it, and it's like the most gruesome, like, intense battle. And then the next chapter is Darrow's perspective, and he's like, so yeah, it was pretty easy. We went through, like, a quick skirmish. That was all he says about it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we walked by him, no big deal. Other than that, everything's been pretty easy out here. I was like, holy shit. So pretty hilarious, but I just love the perspective.
Yeah, I thought that one was funny because of, well, maybe not funny, haha, but just how crazy, vicious, and I know they say berserkers with the obsidian stuff, but how Darrow almost goes berserker when he's in these battles. And Lysander's definitely not ready for seeing what this actually looks like, because Lysander he's never been in a big battle. Like, he's been in fights, but never a battle. So having this be his first experience, and I did like that when he's coming down in the Iron Rain, and he's pretty much shitting his pants, which, even though he's, Octavia Alun's grandson, he's got all of the training necessary. He's not peerless. He hasn't been in a fight. So to see that happen, and then the first thing is Darrow's men, like, basically just crush him immediately, and loses an eye and burns, all this terrible stuff. He's like Anakin on Mustafar. It was that was cool to see. And yeah. I do agree with you with the perspective stuff too, because the people of Mercury, they're thinking, yeah, we were enslaved before, but we were alive. Our hair and teeth weren't falling out from radiation poisoning. We weren't starving and stuck in the crossfires of this battle that's had been raging. We were, we were subjugated, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world now that we think about it compared to this. Yeah, it is funny because there are some Reddit threads about this whole decision by Darrow to not just let Orion blow up Mercury, and people are pretty torn on it. It's funny. It's like this philosophy book I've got on Audible, when they offer these 2-for-1s. It's basically like the short history of philosophy or something. It goes through a bunch of different philosophizers and their ideas, and they talk about that thought experiment of a train's going down the tracks, it's about to kill 3 people, do you pull the lever, and so it only kills 1? And how that's seemingly so simple, but everyone will fight for one side or the other. If you pull the lever, you're now killing that individual person. Well, if you just kind of let it go and kill the 3 people, like, that's not on you. But it feels like Darrow's has that choice at every turn he makes. Like, power is tough to wield. I wouldn't even know how you mentally deal with it at the end of the day, especially because a lot of times you're sacrificing your own men. He pretty much sends Alexander on a suicide mission, and he loves Alexander. He's the first person whenever anyone comes back to find their bodies or pretty much like weep over them or try to help them, whatever the case is. He's so loyal to his people. But he knows that throughout this whole, it was initially a rebellion, but now trying to hold the Republic together, all of his friends are going to die, which is crazy. He has a nice moment in Sevro's his sacred space or whatever, his fortress of solitude in the ship when he goes into Sevro's place. Then I thought that was nice. Do you remember that part?
Oh, when there's like all these booby mines, booby traps, and yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking about Mercury, that's my first stock up. Underrated planet, just in general. I feel like it gets the short end of the sling blade, if you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to our discussion outside of this book of the planets. Like if I was to ask you, hey, name me another planet in our solar system, I wonder how many you would go through before you got to Mercury. I would guess 4 or 5. And I appreciate that Pierce Brown decided to make it the focal point of Dark Age. Do I know anything about Mercury itself? Absolutely not. I just know, like, if someone was to ask me a science question or something like that, I'd be like, Heliopolis is a main city in Mercury. That's all I really know. But, I just thought it was cool how this book is pretty much focused. I mean, obviously there's a lot going on, but it's primarily focused on Mercury and what's happening there with, the Battle of the Ladon and then eventually like the battle on Heliopolis. And it's kind of the straw that stirs the drink of the whole story, where maybe all of our characters aren't on Mercury, but it, like, what's happening on Mercury is rippling through everyone else's story. So I liked it. And before, when we were reading Red Rising or things like that, it wasn't even addressed. Like the idea that it was just Mars and Luna, and now we have an entire 30-hour book that is focused on this battle that's happening on Mercury. So I dug it.
Yeah. It's kind of wild too, because most books or most like sci-fi would be like, oh yeah, the main places is Earth, and we'll give you points of intersection that and we'll like launch from Earth and do all these things from Earth, and then we'll have side missions maybe on these places. But this is like, no, Earth is a side mission. If we ever go to Earth, we'll talk about it briefly, but it's really more like whatever.
Yeah, they reference Earth like here and there, but it's not.
That was where the escape was, right? The person escape was on Earth.
Yeah, and then they also launched the anti-rad medication and stuff from Earth. There's a couple of Earth mentions in here.
Yeah, it's like, but in passing, essentially.
Yeah, there's not big things that are happening on Earth at the moment, at least. And I'm not sure there will be, because it seems like the next one's setting up for Mars. We're going back to Mars. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that plays out. What else do you have for Stock Up?
Lyria, Stock Up.
Oh, you were talking trash last pod.
This is a big book for her. Obviously, these were already written, but I'm pretty sure our boy Pierce Brown saw the notes I gave and immediately implemented them. Literally the first couple sentences Lyria says, she's like, I'm tired of having other people decide my fate and dictate my life. I'm going to take control. I'm like, yes, all right, Lyria, let's go. So she listened to me. I mean, it also helped that she got like the implant midway and she became kind of a superhero, which was always nice. You love to see that.
Figment, how she got it is pretty much, in my mind, they said it's like an octopus thing with tentacles that went in her body. But it seemed a lot like the Matrix, the little thing from the Matrix that crawls into his belly button.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're used to the Red Rising series, Darrow being the smartest one in the room, where he gets kind of tricked a couple of times, but he always has something up his sleeve, or he always has a plan to outwit people. That's not the case anymore, where this is the one time Lyria was like actually kind of fighting back and being the hero, because we don't really get much of a hero's view in these first two books. So it was really good to see. I also love that like Red Hand kind of revolution, or she got her revenge, like, which is in essence this book is about, always been about. The Red Rising series is just a big revenge book.
I like the Red Hand stuff. Unfortunately, I don't remember a ton of how Harmony was. I know she was in Red Rising and whatnot, and she was part of the group that when Mickey carved Darrow initially, she was part of that group. I know she had her own falling out, and that'd be an interesting perspective to hear, because she seems like maybe one of the worst people in the book. Like what she's doing with the Red Hand is terrible. But I did love that storyline, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, I mean, I'm going to talk about it later, but all of a sudden we got our 3 girls together and they're kidnapped, and then Lyria's leading this Mission Impossible. It's her, Tom Cruise, Ana de Armas leading a Mission Impossible, and it was great. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
The Red Hand kind of gave me vibes of, like Blood Diamond, or there's another movie of like the African like tribes that like will take people when they're young and manipulate them and give them drugs. That was kind of what the vibe I was getting. That or like the Taken vibe.
Is that what happens in Blood Diamond?
There's another movie too with Idris Elba who does that.
Oh
too, where he's
yeah,
an African leader.
Yeah, that one's really.
That one was
good.
a tough one to watch.
That was messed up. Yeah, that's like a Netflix movie, and he's like He's a warlord.
I mean, those are the two African,
yeah,
African war movies I've seen.
That one is more in line with I feel like what you're talking about because that's like child soldiers. And he gets them pretty much addicted to drugs.
Well, that's what happens at Blood Diamond,
is
too.
It? I don't remember.
Blood Diamond,
I gotta rewatch
his son, remember his son is
captured,
and they put him into the gang, get him hooked on drugs. He like doesn't recognize his own dad by the end of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do kind of remember that. Gotta rewatch that movie. Good movie. My next stock up is The Black Knight from Monty Python and the Quest of the Holy Grail.
It's barely a scratch, or what is it?
'Tis but a scratch.
Yeah.
I feel like he must be distantly related to Darrow. You know, Darrow gets a razor shoved through his body, and he's like, nah, 'tis but a scratch. He just continues on like he doesn't have a razor going from his chest to his back. And, you know, he goes back to their base or whatever on Mercury, and he's walking around talking to people, doing stuff. Like he doesn't have a razor that's straight through him. He's checking in on people. Oh, Alexander's dead. That sucks. It's like, boss, you have a razor sticking through your entire body. What are you doing? It wasn't clear that he was alive. He's definitely alive.
Saying chest, and I'm like, that could be. What part of the chest can you get something through you that won't kill you? Because if it hits your heart, you're dead. If it hits your other side, what's in your other side? This is a biology class now.
Keith.
Is that your lung,
Keith,
right?
It's merely a flesh wound. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bite your legs off.
Exactly. That's why it doesn't make sense. Like Cassius comes, which, by the way, told you Cassius was not dead. I told you he'd be coming back. Yeah. And Cassius comes in the last minute and saves the day. And Lysander says that Darrow, evaded the trap again or whatever the case is, flew the coop. But that's all we hear about Darrow and or Cassius for the rest of the book. And granted, it's like towards the end of the book. But what? Like, then we hear that Darrow's dead from his family, but they must not know what happened with him and Cassius. So I'm interested to see what happens. I don't think they would just kill Darrow without it being more pomp and circumstance. But you don't know with Pierce Brown, because a couple of the deaths were like Seraphina. Lysander lands. It's like, oh, Seraphina just got her head blown off. It's like, whoa, what? Seraphina was a big character in Iron Gold.
Yeah. This book has fully become Game of Thrones at this point, where don't have a favorite character, don't get attached to anyone, because they're very, very good chance they're dying if their name's not Darrow.
Yeah, I have a note on that later on. But yeah, so Black Knight for Monty Python, stock up. What else you got?
Last one, quick one on summer camps, stock up.
Oh, did you do summer camp as a kid?
I did briefly. I used
overnight or daytime?
Yeah. Overnight. Yeah, that was for like a week. A couple of buddies really liked it. But my summer camp was just we had a swim and tennis club. My parents dropped me off there every single day, and that was my summer.
Wow.
Every single day.
How white are you? Swim and tennis club.
Well, you've seen me before. I'm super tan.
Yeah, you are the whitest person I know. So.
No, I mean, it was like a playground. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyways, Pax and Electra, they're kind of held as wards or as hostages, but they're kind of just having a good time, right? It sounds pretty fun. They're like
great
practicing against other Obsidians, just dominating the shit out of them, fighting. They're like teaching them, which is, imagine being like 12 years old, being like, these grown adult men, they need your help. It's like, because they're not really smart enough. Yeah. And you're like, I can walk them through some shit. And they're just held in super high regards. They're basically talking direct. Imagine like being 12 and talking to the president of another country and being like, I'll show you what to do. I'll tell you how to work things. So yeah, it's a great summer camp for them. And I like their dynamic. Like Pax is really more Mustang than Darrow at this point. Mm-hmm. But I really like him. And then Electra is like a perfect combination. I mean, both Darrow and Victor are psychos, but you already see that coming through. So I like their dynamics. And
you mean Severo and Victra?
Or what did I say?
You said
yeah,
Darrow.
Sorry.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's a spitting image of her parents, and Pax seems a little more thoughtful. He's definitely, I agree, he's definitely more Mustang. But
also Darrow hasn't been around, so
yeah, he's an absentee father. Pax has a little smart guy to him, the TV show. He's seemingly a genius, right? In terms of mechanical understanding. I mean, along with lots of other stuff. But he just like builds bikes or builds crazy stuff that can be done. And he also has some Anakin Skywalker in him at the end with Ephraim. He's the pilot and flying this plane and telling everyone else, like all the other ships in their fleet, what to do. And he takes down some spaceship that's impossible to take down. He does it on his own. It's yeah, he's like a little Anakin, a little smart guy. I don't know what's going on.
Charlie Woods, he's
yeah, I guess
Fernando Tatis Jr., Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, he's just a child of a prodigy. I mean, he is a prodigy because his parents were prodigies.
Yeah, like is it
sense.
Nepotism if he's so good? It's not, right? It's not like they're just getting gifted this thing.
No, yeah, nepotism is for when you're like given something that you don't deserve. Like sports and fighting and smarts are all things that can't be just given to you. You have to win them, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he also probably, studied with the best teachers and whatnot.
Yeah, that's just more like advantages in life, which
he's got
can't really do a lot about that.
My next stock up is Helm's Deep. So I'll never forget seeing this Two Towers, that is, Lord of the Rings. For those that don't know what Helm's Deep is, shame on you. But I'll never forget seeing it in theaters. My jaw just dropped because the movie itself is very long. And you watch the entire movie and it gets to Helm's Deep. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be a little battle. And then something's going to happen, but I don't know yet. Well, it turns into a 40-minute battle. That Helm's Deep movie, or Two Towers movie, Helm's Deep, 40-minute battle, holds the Guinness World Record for the longest cinematic battle. It was insane. So many great moments in that. And that's pretty much what Dark Age is. It's just an entire book of battles. I mean, obviously, we talked about Mercury. Mercury is just one super long battle. The entire part one of the story is the Battle of the Ladon, which isn't even the entire battle that's happening on Mercury. It's just that Battle of the Ladon. That's the entire part one. You think, oh, we get to a Senate chamber. That's going to be nothing. Nope. Turns into this, everyone's poisoned and there's a battle and Daxo gets his head ripped off or whatever the case is. I mean, hell, even Lyria is involved in 2 battles. She gets a crazy space battle against wild obsidians and then one in a mine against the Red Hand. She herself takes part in 2 of them. I think the only place where there isn't a battle is the spaceship time that it takes to get to a battle. That's the only time there's not a battle, and the brief time when they're on Mars with the Obsidians before that ends up turning into a battle. So, yeah, it was, if you like fighting and battle sequences, then this is the book for you because it's pretty much just one long one. And usually they wait until, I was going to say they wait until the 3rd installment before they bring that out, but Lord of the Rings, they did it in the second one. I guess they also did it in the third one, but they did it in the second one. So, yeah, maybe it's a special with the second book in the series.
It's pretty crazy because if you think back to the original trilogy, there's not many battles, but most of it was like strategy and manipulation.
There's like one battle, I feel like, in Morningstar.
Yeah. Well, the first book, the Red Rising, there's a ton of skirmishes, like battles.
Yeah.
But the best parts of those are not like the battles themselves. It's like, okay, here's the strategy of why we're going to attack this way is because we need to get into their fort and steal the flag or whatever. I mean, it was like this whole kind of strategy. This is just like, all right, we got to get to this point A to point B. Let's run through some people to do that. kind of. So it is a little different.
The only thing that I have a tough time with these kind of battles, and I've talked about this before, probably ad nauseum to anyone that listens, but it's the being able to conceptualize them. They're talking, like the numbers they throw out for who's involved, how many people are involved in these battles is crazy. They say, oh, we have 1 million legion out there. It's like, you have 1 million people fighting? What? We lost 100,000 in this battle. How does that even, especially with all this advanced technology, it was hard to kind of get. One of the things I did really like is that Lysander pod racing series when they're trying to escape after Atlas kind of lets him out and they're trying to escape.
So far.
Yeah, well, I watched Andor season 2, crushed it, loved it, so good. And then
so good. All right, you jumped on because you were worried, weren't you?
Yeah, I was worried. It's so good. And then over the last 3 nights, when Caroline goes to sleep, I watch Rogue One in pieces.
You had to watch Rogue One right away after it.
Right away.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah. Caroline's like, I'm super tired. I think I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, no, don't.
That sleepy time tea I slipped you. That was weird. I don't know why you're so tired.
Yeah, Rogue One. It's so good. It's all to like, and then start New Hope, obviously. Whatever. Not either or. Anywhere. The Lysander pod racing scene I thought was super cool because they're going on these bikes trying to get out of there, trying to get to Darrow's men or whatever the case is. And there's these like space guns are shooting down at them. You know, it's like they're not only getting shot from rail guns by people and snipers and whatnot, but these space guns that are basically turning the sand to glass right in front of them. It'd be so cool to see. It'd be so cool to see on a big screen. It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Stock Up is being captured. We watched Man on Fire recently. Denzel. You seen that? Dakota Fanning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about kidnappings in Mexico. Tony Scott movie. The Scott brothers. Just love them both. But
great train movie.
Yeah, exactly. Unstoppable, your favorite. But it's talking about all these kidnappings. And these kids, I think it says in the opening credits, like 70% of the kids kidnapped die. It's like, wow, that's fucked up. You know, it kind of sets the scene for the whole movie. Not in this world that Pierce Brown has created. I'm pretty sure every main character got captured at some point during this book, and no one died out of their being captured, as far as I understand. We got Severo being captured, Victra, Lyria, Ephraim. The list goes on. Obviously, Pax and Elektra. No one dies. It's like no one saw Austin Powers and did the Scott evil. Just shoot him.
The only person that does it is Lysander, which I was like, no class, just no honor at all.
Wait, when does Lysander do it?
He shoots Alexander in the face.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just zero honor, just none.
Not necessarily a capture, though.
Well, I mean, that was like the definition of like kind of shooting someone in the face behind their back type.
I thought it was more, to me, it was more of Indiana Jones vibe of, I got to get out of here. I don't have the time to fight this guy. I'm going to pull a gun out and shoot him.
He was holding his girl hostage. Yeah. And he was like, all right, like, fight me like a man. And he's like, okay. And then he shoots him in the face.
Yeah. Indiana Jones. He's got the guy coming at him, you know, trying to.
Well, you could have been like, put your weapon down. I'm going to let you go, but you're letting me leave type of thing. But he didn't.
Well, at least he didn't kill Rona, right?
Yeah. I guess he could have done that.
He could have just.
Anyways.
He just broke her
no
jaw.
honor.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, being captured, it's not a big deal. You know, you don't end up dying.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Let's jump into Stock Down. What do you get for Stock Down?
Being a battle-worn vet, Stock Down, Darrow has been fighting wars for 10 plus years now. We've already talked about it. He's the ultimate strategist, whatever the word is.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much seen every battle. He's fought in every single type of one-on-one situation. He knows everything. He's rugged. He's like on the side training and like getting better. He's constantly trying to like improve. That might be from book 3. Sorry. However, we see Lysander, he gets dropped in the Iron Rain. He's shitting himself. He's terrible at fighting. Then he kind of goes in the mind's eye, and then the next thing we know, he's unbelievable. He's beating Darrow 1-on-1.
Riding a giant horse.
Yeah, he's like kind of become the superhero overnight. And I was like, what did has he been putting the time in or putting any sort of, like the thing with like a lot of these guys like Cassius, they're bred to be warriors. They grew up dueling. They grew up thinking about strategy. Even Pax that's happening too. They go to the academy. They fucking murder someone with their bare hands when they're 16. They're bred.
Yeah.
What the fuck has Lysander done? He's been a little bitch boy.
I feel like Lysander almost has a little Jedi to him. He's got some Mark Hamill aspects in that he has done his training, right? Cassius has done all of his training. So in terms of one-on-one sword fighting, he's also talk about the trauma that he had growing up with his grandmother, He tells the story about it. She walks up the stair, like 250 stairs, and she blindfolded him and said, "Okay, go walk back down." He's like, "Wait, what?" And then she threw a bunch of birdseed and totally messed. Just all this actual trauma to get him
That's
right
just
with
good
the
old
mind's
fun.
eye.
What are you doing?
But
here?
I think the mind's eye is almost like a Jedi superpower, where he's able to see things in a different way, and because of that, it makes him better. He just really hadn't exercised that muscle enough in the moment that he needed it, And so he does it in this book, and he's a fast learner. So he's going to quickly get on top of it. I do agree that, Darrow's a badass and is maybe underrepresented, but at the same time, Darrow has this small force where Lysander's at the end commanding a massive force. So it's also that factor. So no matter how good you're going to be, when you go up against, 10-1, it's like Thermopylae. Yeah, those Spartans were good, but they still all died.
Yeah, all right. I would have been fine with Darrow fighting someone that's like well nutritioned, hasn't been out in the sun, because like Lysander's had just as bad of a time in this war. His whole voyage to get out of the desert was just as bad as Darrow's, if not worse. Where his whole face is torn off.
Yeah.
He steps on a landmine. He gets captured in a net. He's like sitting out there. Then he's starved in prison for a bunch of days.
It didn't seem like he got enough medical attention for all the things that were going on to him, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the whole point is like you see people get wounded. Casualties in these wars is not a big deal if you're a gold because like they're expected and they have such good medical stuff now that they'll just treat you up real quick. Whereas, like, probably if you're a foot soldier, you're not good.
Okay. My first stock down is habituation. You familiar with that word?
Habitual means often, so habituation must mean oftenly issuing.
Are you just pulling habituation from being a habitual line stepper?
Yes, that's right.
I love that. So it's a psychological human condition, right? The diminishing of a psychological or emotional response to a frequently repeated stimulus. So an example would be if you live in the city, like New York City, and there's always a lot of sounds going on, beeping horns, ambulances, all that stuff. You eventually get used to it where you can clearly hear something that's quieter, or the fact that you're able to sleep without any problems because you're just like totally used to that noise is habituation. Or let's say that you go to and sit in a porta potty at like a music festival or something and it smells absolutely terrible, but you have to poop and you're in there for 5 minutes and then all of a sudden it doesn't smell so bad because you're habituating that scent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
So it's a stock down because
I love the porta potty example. I didn't understand anything you said before that. Then you told me that example. I said, gotcha. Got it. Locked in now.
Yeah, now you get it.
And you're like very comfortable all of a sudden in the porta potty. You're like, this isn't that bad. What was I upset about this?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you leave and you're like, Jesus Christ, that was terrible. What was I thinking?
Yeah. I mean, it's even at home, I might have a number 2 and then the wife goes in there and she's like, that smells absolutely rancid.
No, it smells good when you do it. That's lies.
Roses. Once you go back, you realize, oh yeah, that indeed does. So at first, with this book, I was taken aback with Tongueless's death. We had just kind of gotten to know this odd obsidian who seems pretty cool. I'm like, oh, he's going to join the crew. This is going to be really fun. And then he dies. It's like, oh, well, that's terrible. I'm really upset because I wanted to enjoy Tongueless more. By the time Ephraim dies at the end, I was like, oh, that's too bad. And then I just moved on to the next page. He was your favorite character in the last book. He was, I think mine or him and Lyria were up there for me. I know it was Ephraim. I love Ephraim. I loved him in this book too. He was so good. Mm-hmm. But there are just so many deaths that I had that habituation response to all of it, where towards the end it evokes no stimuli for me. I was not stimulated in one way. I mean, check out this list. You got Tongueless, Seraphina, Orion, Dancer, Daxo, Theodora, Freyhild, Ulysses, Harmony, Sephi, Xenophon, Ephraim, Alexander, Calendora. all of them die in this book.
Yeah.
It's wild, and some of them were characters from way back. Some of them were characters in Iron Gold, but Iron Gold's a long book, so we really got to know these people. And some of them were characters in Iron Gold, and then in this book, and they're all of a sudden gone. It was wild to me. So yeah, it's I like that Pierce Brown has kind of become, George R. Martin, where, like you said, don't get too close to anyone because eventually they're probably just going to die. But at some point, it starts to lose its effect on me. And I'm almost purposefully not attached so that I can't get hurt.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that Ephraim. That's when it really solidified. Oh, this is just Game of Thrones, because it was a really good character arc. He got back to Volga. You see that nice.
Yeah, and he says like, "You're my Etta, like you're my family." It's so nice. It was great.
And we're gonna send you off to here, and you're like, "Oh, no, that's not. Don't do that. That's not good." You knew they weren't just gonna be like, here's a quick meeting. I'll come back to Volga. We'll be good to go. And it was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, but then he's got the whole ploy of, he's got the thing in his shoe. He's going to blow the other guy up. He's going to get out of this. But I don't even honestly know how it happened. It was like, it went from him blowing the other guy up to all of a sudden.
That was a suicide vest type move, right? I think.
Was it? I don't think so. But
I think he knew it was going to blow them all up. I think he knew. I think he knew he was getting out of it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, fuck. Terrible.
Yeah.
I'm upset to not have Ephraim. And Volga's. I'm excited to see what happens with Volga because she really grew on me on this book. Did you have other stock downs?
Yeah, last one is just Will Hunting stock down.
Good.
You ever see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Of course, in theaters.
The second Good Will Hunting, Good Will Hunting 2 they're filming. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where they're like, now I've hit the books and you've lost a step and you're no longer the young, hungry, angry guy anymore. And he's like, uh-oh, And so there's a whole scene where they replay the, what are you reading, Gordon Wood, type thing.
How about them apples?
So, yeah.
Apple
so they're replaying
sauce,
that. And, and Will Hunting no longer is the step. That's what I think, I mentioned this earlier, that's what this book has become. We're in the second version, and the guy that's the hero, that, the scrappy, young, angry person is no longer the leader and the person that's out thinking everyone. Everyone's doing what he's been doing previously. So it's tough. It's tough to watch. And I mentioned like Lyria being the only one that's really kind of playing the hero role, but everyone else is kind of just like not the smartest person in the room anymore. You're just kind of waiting to see how they react to something that when they get thrown a curveball. So they're like no longer taking the initiative of, now this is what we're going to do. They're not going to see us coming. It's now like, well, they saw that coming, so this is what we have to do now. Like, oh shit, they are one step ahead of us again. You look to like Lysander doing this. You look to like Atlantia has done it multiple times. All these people are kind of outsmarting them.
Yeah,
so it's
Lilith
tough to
and
watch.
The clone.
Yeah.
Mustang was way behind. Her whole story arc in
Way
this
behind.
one, unfortunately, is.
Yeah, what happened to Mustang being like the smartest person in the room? Like
Yeah.
she's really not.
Now she's trying to. She has to get so many people on board to do stuff. She can't just like do it on her own, or she tried to but couldn't. I don't know exactly. The whole thing is her saying she's going to save Darrow and then doesn't, and then her feeling guilty because Cassius flew in there with one plane. It's Rogue One. They didn't want to go to Scarif and get the plans, so they had to get Rogue One to do it. It's the same idea for those people following along. But yeah, her storyline's not good. Unfortunately, I'm starting to like Lysander a lot. I think he's got his mind in the right place. He just needs to fine tune it. And I don't know how it's going to end, and I'm excited for the next book because of that. He obviously wants whatever it was in the past with Gold, being the head of the society. But he's a good person. When he goes in the desert and he tries to mercy kill those Reds who were impaled by Atlas, they're Reds. He has no reason to do that. He was raised to believe that they're not even human, pretty much. But he does that, even though it backfires on him. But I'm just interested to see what becomes of him, because he seems like he's got his head in the right place, but it's still not tuned exactly right. So how will this change now with the information at the end of the book that his grandmother assassinated his parents because his mom seemed like she was down with whatever her mom was not doing. I think it was probably her mom. But, she wanted to end the chaos that was happening within Gold. So we'll see. But I like his character. So I'm interested.
I mean, you like him more than I do, I think. I think he still is like, wants to do the class system, which obviously, I think is not. If you had these type of people like a Lysander on your side for the Republic working to make that work, that would be more productive than him saying, well, the old way was really good for me, and yeah, everyone else suffered, whatever. At least we had peace then. If he was like, you know what, I'm going to reset the society, but I'm going to become a red once it's reset, fine, I respect that. You can't be like, let's reset the society and I'll be at the top of it again. It's like, no, you're not doing that for anyone but yourself.
Yeah, I think he can find somewhere in the middle that will fit everyone's needs, but I have no idea, and I honestly don't want this story to end cleanly. Like, there should be some area where you're wondering, well, how's this going to work out? That's my thought. My next stock down, Eli Roth. Stock down. You familiar with Eli Roth? Inglourious Bastards?
What's his name? The Jew
the bear,
basher?
The bear Jew?
Bear Jew? There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. He's also a great screenwriter and director. He's directed a couple horror movies that you might be familiar with. One, Hostel. Two, Green Inferno. I don't know if you saw that one.
I have not.
Oh.
I'm not a big horror movie guy.
That's too bad. Hostel is known for how grotesque it is, and Green Inferno, which I have seen, equally grotesque. Yeah, that's messed up. If anyone wants to go watch that Amazonian tribe kind of thing, some kids going into the woods to think they're helping, save the rainforest or whatever, or help these lost tribes, and then the tribes just end up absolutely boiling them alive and messed up stuff. So yeah, Eli Roth's known for doing this kind of gruesome and grotesque horror movies, but Pierce Brown is out here making him look like a Pixar director with the shit that he's got going on in this one. Like Seffi's death? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was rugged.
What's his?
I had this in my loves, by the way, but go on.
You had Seffi's death in your loves?
I had the ruggedness of this book. It used to be a YA book. Remember that?
Yeah, for a hot minute it was a YA book, and he's telling her that she's Seffi the Quiet, so you can go to Valhalla if you stay quiet. As I legitimately peel your back off, cut through your ribs, and rip your lungs out, you have to stay quiet throughout that whole experience.
And then eat your heart?
Yeah, and then eat your heart. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Ulysses' death? Ulysses is a 2-hour-old baby, and they nail him upside down to a tree after bashing his skull in? Excuse me? What? Pierce, who hurt you? Who hurt you? This is some fucked up shit. And that's not even to mention all of the head split in half and eyes popping out and people burning to death in terribly gruesome ways. Guys getting their legs blown off and drowning in bat guano until some sort of centipede eats them as they're drowning in bat guano. Like, crazy. Pierce, I love it. It's wild. It's some wild stuff. I just don't know what's going on in your head. But, you see interviews of the guy. He seems like such a nice and unassuming man. But he's got some dark shit going on in his head that all came out.
That might answer my question from the first one.
What do you mean the first one?
The first one, I was like, I know what's going on with this guy, because you can't be a writer and be that attractive. Writers are just fucking curmudgeons that sit at home and type on the computer. They look like me, You can't be both good looking and a writer. Like, that's not allowed.
You gotta look like George R. R. Martin.
Exactly. I was always like, there's something off with this guy. I don't trust him, and I'm just jealous of him immensely.
Yeah, well, that's it. He's sick in the head. Perfect.
Yeah, I love that.
For our benefit, because it is descriptive in a great and horrifying way. Do you have like a favorite part or favorite storyline throughout this one? We talked a bunch about different things, so any of those?
Yeah, I think I mentioned Lyria. I mean, I think all of the bad guy storylines were pretty good and good twists. Like I mean, the thing is, like, the red wedding, you hate that type of thing, right? But it's such
Awesome.
good. It's so
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah.
I had that same exact feeling when the poison stuff went down in the Senate. I was like, oh shit! And then like people start rioting. That was a tough thing to read.
Yeah, when they're ripping I was scared it was going to get into like rapey territory with Mustang because people were grabbing at her and stuff like that, and that skeeves me out. Luckily it was just insane violence. But yeah, I agree with you. That was
That whole process, and then the turn of like this always happens where like someone thinks they're doing something for like the benefit of the society. They're like, oh, I'm gonna like stab someone in the back to help out like what I think.
like plebeius or whatever. Like,
Yeah, they're not the one
whatever
that's
his name was,
actually, they're like the
Plutarch or
puppet.
something.
The initial reason that you try to overthrow the government's good, and then the most powerful person takes over and says, yeah, that's cute, we're actually going to do what I want to do. Not you're doing it for a valid reason maybe, but yeah, we're not doing that actually.
Yeah, that was another big miss by Mustang when she thought whatever that guy's name was, Plebeius or Plutarch, I don't even remember what the guy's name was. She's like, oh, he's behind this thing, but he's an idiot. So why would she think that he was behind it? There was obviously something else going on. So
Well, he was a good actor, so I mean,
I guess so.
Like he was able to hide it for this long, so that means you're pretty good at something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think I already mentioned the Ephraim story arc. I think it was a great story arc in Red Rising fashion. We get that arc, and you feel like, oh, now he's gonna be like a hero, and he's gonna like go maybe to Mercury and help out, or he's gonna do it, and it's like now he's dead.
Yeah.
So all those things combined, I would say Lyria in general was the best, but the bad guy stuff was kind of really took the cake in this one.
Yeah, it's funny because I agree with you. The Odd Thruple was my favorite with Lyria, Volga, and Victra. We have Peerless Scarred Gold. We got an Obsidian potential queen and a Red Gamma who somehow find themselves all together. It's a little Pulp Fiction. They find themselves in the basement and they got the Gimp coming at them, and even though they're adversaries, they all get together for this one moment to fight the Red Hand. They found a common enemy, and it all really stems around Lyria for sure. But Volga and Victra also do some badass stuff. I mean, Victra is like an absolute animal when Lyria finally gets her going. But Lyria's plan was cool. It was almost a story within a story. That whole Red Hand Lyria situation in the mines, her getting all those wives or girls that are going to be wives on her side and planting these teeth in them. It was very creative and just cool. It was a really cool
and her
stuff.
like punching the shit out of the one girl that thinks she thought I was going to be a rat. I was like, all right, Lyria, all right, now you got me. Now I'm on you. Like, that's why she's my favorite character. This
that girl's going to be a rat. It's like, cool. I'm not going to kill her, but I'm going to break her jaw so she can't speak.
Yeah, she went 0 to 100 real quick. This
a lot of shattered jaws happening in here.
Well, you've seen Mission Impossible 2?
Yeah,
so, I mean,
good one. Good call. I know they can heal stuff like the Medicais or whatever can heal pretty much anything, and with carving, everyone can be fixed. You know, Ephraim loses a leg and he's got a new leg, no big deal. Which is a real necessary part of what Pierce Brown created in this universe, because otherwise people would be dying of infections and gangrene, and no one would speak again because of broken jaws all the time. So it was smart to include that kind of stuff. We have a bunch of new characters. I don't even know if you had a favorite one, or if it was one from the old ones, or is it just Lyria because she stepped up so much from this book?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest one. Let me. What about you?
Yeah, well, you got Alexander, you got Atlas, you got Ajax. Obviously, Lilith, the clone. There's a bunch of, mostly the bad guys really are the new people. There aren't a ton of new good guys. So, yeah. I mean, I didn't necessarily have. I like Volga. I like Ephraim. I think because of Ephraim's storyline and the way it ended, there's some closure there. So I can say, okay, yeah, I really liked how Ephraim changed. But yeah, no, I think Pax is really growing up. The next book might be setting up for like a Pax Jackal situation, the way his dad had with the Jackal, but now it's Pax because now they're both kids. It's going to be a battle of 12-year-olds. So should be interesting, but not necessarily like a favorite. There's just so much jumping around, and maybe it's a love for me, but I did love how, even though there's so much going on, the way Pierce Brown broke it up, where it wasn't like one chapter of one character and then we jump to another character and then we have to jump back to the first one and we don't know how we got there. He did like segments, like 4 chapter segments. So it'd be sticking with one character for 4 chapters. Okay, we got a bunch of stuff going on, and then there was a clean break, and then did another character, and then we came back to them. So I like how he did that. But because of that, it didn't necessarily create one character that became something that I could really focus on. But because I said love, let's just jump into love-hate. What did you love about Dark Age?
The biggest thing is you could never ever predict what's going to happen next in this book. Most of these type of books, you're like, all right, well, it's going to follow these beats, and then eventually it's going to end up here. This, I'm like, it could end and the bad guys could win. I have no idea, And as much as I love like a Mitch Rapp series, they introduce the bad guy, and I can usually be like, well, he's greedy and he's this and this, so his own greed is going to be his downfall. Like that's what's going to happen. Like you can kind of see the weaknesses in their character and be like, this is probably what's going to cost them. And this one, you can just get a bullet to the head like Alexander for nothing.
They build Alexander's character up. Oh, okay, great. He's Lorna Arkos's grandson. Okay, cool. He's going to be a big character, and at least have a sword fight or a razor battle with Lysander, who's also studied the Willow Way, or whatever the thing is, or that's just a stance. The Willow Way is from Shogun, but that's about sex. But you think he's gonna have some sort of fight, and it just turns into no, he's just shot in the head, dead. Boop. See you later. Yeah,
I mean that's really the biggest thing. And then you already mentioned, I just love the ruggedness of it, the 0 to 100. A lot of the scenes, I just think that makes it. It makes you cringe at the time, but it makes it very memorable. That's for sure. I remember the first book when the jackal cut his arm off. Mm-hmm. That was when I was like, holy shit, this is a different type book. Like it's so rugged to think about. And he's only been like, well, I got to up it now. Like I got to keep upping it.
You don't think he could, but the next thing you know, there's a baby that's gets head smashed in and it's nailed to a tree. And you're like, how? Yeah. So what is the next book going to entail? I don't even understand. Yeah. So yeah, definitely the brutality and ruggedness for sure. I like the tech in this one. I thought the tech was pretty cool. The storm gods were a fun little feature that it was like ancient technology that they dug out of the ice and used on Mercury. That was fun. The Drachenjägers, it's basically the Iron Giant, I guess, that people control. Like Rona's now, I don't know, a pilot for it or whatever the case is, but you have to have you have to get hooked into it almost like in the Matrix once again with all the ports on your body and stuff. And they have hundreds of them. And I wanted to say they said they were like 100 feet tall or something crazy, like 40 feet tall. I don't know. Seems wild to me, but they were super cool. Psycho spikes, whatever the chair is that Mustang has, like from Octavia Loon, that thing seemed pretty wild. Whatever they did to, who was the guy that was in the syndicate that they interrogated, and she knew what he was going to say because she basically like erased his memory. That was a pretty cool scene with her where she was showing some of her interrogation tactics there. And then obviously like whatever Illyria is becoming with that parasite in her, she is now Figment. It seems like Figment is this parasite, so she is now Figment. So what is that going to give her? She has her little superhero story arc thing going on, so I can dig that. I thought the new tech that he added was fun for this one.
Yeah.
What about hate?
Same as the last one with the names. I realized what the issue was, and actually for book 3 I've kind of started to figure all of them out, so it's kind of easier for whatever reason. Maybe it's just repetitiveness or 30 hours of listening has finally helped me. But the Atlas, Atlantia, Apollonius, everything.
Yeah.
Those are all that fucks me up. And they call people by different names, but things. So like, what's Cassius's like Loon or something? Yeah. So like that's. So I'll get a name down and then that like so there's just too many of those things. Give me some non-A names or give me like a. And there's Joey Crack over there. He's
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a Bologna.
And Alexander they added in there. I'm like, can we get another non-A name?
That guy's a Bologna. Or, yeah, I come from the Julii. It's like, wait, What? The only one I know is Barca because it's Severo Al Barca. It's like, okay, Barca, I got it, Severo. So I'm starting to figure out the other ones, but yeah, you are right. There's a lot of A names. Everyone has an A in their name, at least.
Looking up the summaries, I was like, who's Orion? Who the fuck is this person? That's Orion. Yeah.
Nice. That's why you don't read.
Whoops.
That's why you listen to audiobooks. Yeah, I agree with you. The only other thing that I really hated, well, there's two, but one is that there's a lot of characters, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but based on the Red Rising wiki, there are 92 characters in this book. And they're all in different places, but all intertwined. So I was just so confused. At the end, Darrow's talking to Harnassus as he has a fucking razor through his chest, and he's having a stop and chat with Harnassus, and I'm like, who the hell is Harnassus? And I had to look up that, oh right, at the beginning of the book, he's the guy who they put on Mercury to like lead, or he's their governor or whatever of Mercury that he was chatting with at the beginning. But I was like, he was the first character that you introduced in this book, and we've had 90 since then. I don't remember this guy. And all the Obsidian names, that was really tough for me, was that Ephraim storyline and Pax and Electra with everything that was happening with the different Obsidians, because he had one guy's like a shaman, and then the other guy is like Sephi's boy toy.
Was he a blue or something?
And
I don't know, yeah.
I was very confused with the Obsidians, unfortunately, because I feel like I didn't get enough out of that story because I wasn't exactly sure who was doing what. Like, oh, they killed Sephi's griffin. It's Thegalalis. I'm like, wait, who's that? What's that guy? Oh, that's her husband. Yeah. Why? Oh, and then they're like,
okay, not just me.
Turns out it wasn't him that did it. It was this other guy. I'm like, wait, who is that guy? So yeah, that was tough. And then my only other hate, and this one is like an actual hate, and I was kind of pissed off when I got here, but a clone trope, really?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up too.
Come on. The Jackal's back. No, come on. No, absolutely not. We had the Jackal. The Jackal is gone. Let's move on. You're killing so many people. Now you just open the whole clone idea. It's like, well, just clone Darrow. Now Darrow's cloned.
It's like Avatar. Have you seen the new one?
No. Well, I started it. I watch every movie I see. I watch it till it's completed, no matter how bad it is. Still have not finished that movie. And I loved Avatar.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It's kind of like watching Happy Gilmore 2. If you go in being like, this is going to be the best movie of all time, you're going to be very disappointed. It's kind of what you expect.
But Happy Gilmore 2, they're not spending $2 billion to make the movie. I'm like, this is going to be super sweet. And then it's just a story about this little boy clone or whatever the thing is. Like, I don't care.
It is a clone. Yeah, it's a bad guy clone in that one too. So anyways, but I agree with you. There's like zero tropes to add this in as like a, well, I mean, it's a kind of a cop-out. And you have so many good bad guy characters that you don't really need him anymore.
Yeah. It's like Lilith couldn't be behind it. Who is it? Oh, it's a Jack. I mean, at least he did it in a cool enough way where it is a clone, but it's not him. Usually when it's a clone, it's like, this is the exact same person. He just introduced the same character.
Yeah.
So it is and it isn't him. So I feel like there's going to be some interesting stuff there. But at the same time, we're done with the Jackal. Move on. There's all other bad guys to choose from. Just move on.
Yeah, no, I agree. That and the, like, we just didn't really get enough Severo in this book. Like that. Those two things.
I forgot to write it down. But yes, that's exactly what I was thinking before. No Severo. And when we do see Severo for that one interrogation scene, it's awesome. And it's like, this really sucks because he's so good, and we get almost none.
Yeah, when the lights turned off, I was like, Severo's here, let's go. And it was like, no, it's not here. He's still captured. I was like, oh.
Yeah, lights turned off. I was like, is that Severo's music? It was like, no.
Yeah.
It's like in the WWE when they start the music, but then they change it to someone else's. We got Vince McMahon. All right, well, that was Dark Age, a 30-hour book. I think we did it in an hour, so not bad for us. Who was the book for, and how many buddies you giving it out of 5?
Yeah, I mean, I think we already know who it's for. It's for Red Rising fans. I think this can be suggested to epic fantasy followers again, like we talked about last one. So I think the first series, anyone could do this. This is you got to be kind of strapped in. You got to be a little bit more ready for the fantasy and the gore element that you're going to face here. I give it a 4.25. I think it was better than the last one. I still think it's not as good as the first trilogy still. It's 30 hours. I was happy every time I got in my car that I could listen to it. There's been plenty of books that's not been the case. This is a over 4 all day for me. What about you?
Yeah, I like how you said that, where you could read the first trilogy and not be necessarily like not necessarily like into it, but you don't have to be as invested in that trilogy, I feel like, as you would to read this one, because it's so much more intense. You have to pay attention more. You really have to be invested in the characters to be able to kind of get through it. And I don't mean get through it like it's tough read, because I agree, every time I picked it up, I really enjoyed it. And it took me a while, but I was listening to it in like 5-hour stretches. Like once I picked it up, I just couldn't stop. I give it 4. It's a 4 buddies out of 5. I think the other ones the first trilogy still better to me. And really it's amazing. Just the only downside is that I couldn't necessarily follow with the characters, but it's so creative. Like any Brandon Sanderson fan, I feel like could enjoy this, even though they might initially feel like it's not nearly on the same scope. But once you get into this series, it's like, oh, this is Brandon Sanderson's scope. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, what do we got coming up next?
Book 6. We're going to finish this thing out. Book 6 is Lightbringer. So I think this is the end of the trilogy. There might be a 7th. I'm not positive.
Please.
I got to look that up. Yeah. Well, the 7th isn't out. I think he might be writing a 7th, though. But yeah, so we'll jump into that and then probably try to find some shorter summer reads after that to cool down with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it, but these are long books, and I like how we're mixing up some long ones, and then we'll slide back.
With our Harry Potter thing, we at least had some movies to cut in between, and this one's just like, well,
yeah. You know, we don't like to have this long of a hiatus, but we gotta sometimes you gotta read the long ones. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. All right, Keith. Well, that was Dark Age. Thanks for chatting it out and for providing that summary at the top, because that was helpful to rack my brain. I haven't started Lightbringer, so I'll start it now. It was fun chatting with you, and I'll talk to you for Lightbringer.
Indeed.
All right.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye now.